live right now, Edwin.
Oh, we're live,
Welcome
man.
in. Live. It's not really the comic triple threat because I'm not Rod because I still have my hair. Burn on the weekend.
Damn, he's not even here to defend himself.
Mr. Rod, you're always welcome to jump in. Just hit me up on Instagram if you want to jump in here and defend the hat. But this is the AOK Book Club. Those of you looking to see Alec, he is still at the airport, as far as I understand, on a 3-hour layover in Massachusetts, trying to get back to Florida. So instead of normal book club, you have AOK Book Club. If you missed the previous episode of this, Chad 90 Miles from Comics and I AOK'd Perry, Immortal Hulk, as a way to kind of get him a chance to read something he's making fun of, hasn't really ever read, and hopefully appreciate, as he usually does.
Yeah, of course.
This time around, Perry AOK'd Mr. Edwin, the comic jabroni here, a copy of the Volume 1 of Oblivion Song, and we're here to talk about that tonight. But first, let's just say a little hello. It's New Comic Book Day. Edwin, how was your New Comic Book Day, man?
Great, brother. Yeah, this is like Christmas every Wednesday for me, man. I picked up, I have like 15 books, man. 15, and I got through them all. I read every single issue that I picked up today, and
that's a reading beast.
There were some good ones, and there was some ones out there.
Yeah.
So after this is done, I'm going to record my New Comic Book Day pickups and review video and try to get that out tomorrow.
And I'm excited to see which bourbon won, so I'm looking forward to that.
There we go. One of them did win. I can't wait to review it.
Nice. I think I bought more books this week than I've ever bought. I bought 13 individual issues of comics, but it's like some of them were double covers, like Die. I got both covers, stuff like that. And I got number 10, waiting for you, Oblivion Song, right here.
Can't wait, man. Can't wait.
They didn't have 11. I don't know what happened there. And then Perry, how was New Comic Book Day for you, man? Did you get any?
It was good, man. It was awesome. I got like half my books, and then the other half, I'm like, well, I want to eat lunch today, so let me put these in my box. So I'll put them back in my box. I'll pick them up on Friday or something. And then I was kind of mad because I couldn't get that Dead End Kids. And I was happy. I went on eBay, and I seen one listed for $19.99 shipped. Snagged it up quick.
TJ says it sounds like Alex's plane got delayed again.
Oh, man, that's the worst.
Dude, I know that feeling, man. It's horrible.
Bummer. Brutal, brutal, brutal. Yeah, I tried to read all of mine. I got through a lot of them. It was hard. The girls and I went to the zoo in the middle of the day today, which is like an hour drive, San Diego, and then back. And definitely spent a lot of time running around playing kid time, and then finally got back, had to make dinner. So I was impressed. I got through like 7 of the books that I read, that I picked up this week. And I will say, Edwin, I agree. It was a huge week. There were books I was really excited about, but I did have a few that were like Immortal Hulk might have been one of the worst ones of the week for me. Like I was not a big Immortal Hulk fan this week. It was definitely a filler setting up stuff, not really like doing much.
Like the next issue is going to be good.
Yes, you can totally tell that.
It sets up for a huge fight going to happen in the next one.
And admittedly, the last issue of Immortal Hulk was kind of a pretty dramatic, like body count kind of thing. And so I think they were trying to like
filler for the story.
I think they were trying to say like, hey, this is the aftermath. Yeah. But it was like, it definitely felt like a filler one for me. I'm going to jump in the chat real quick, say a little hellos. TJ was, of course, the first one in there. Is it still safe, John? It's this safe place. YouTube comic community, safe place. Sam I Am Comics, Chris Barrett, and Caleb always in the chat. Everywhere the comic triple threat goes, Borinkin Comics is there every time, representing the trifecta. So respect to Borinkin Comics. Bear Island, Adam, thank you for showing up here, man. Apparently Caleb had ice cream. Good to know. TiVo, Lord of the Long Box. If you guys don't know, TiVo has rebooted his channel. So if you were a sub to Lords of the Long Box, it's possible you're not anymore. You want to click on his name, go to his channel, and sub him up. He is already exploding in numbers, but we want to make sure he gets all of his old fans back because most of us want to make sure we're there for all the content he drops. Caleb, I mentioned you already. Borinkin says, dude, I just found a 4-day vacation in Miami, flight and hotel included for $850. Dang.
That seems like a lot.
Where are you flying
from? Puerto Rico.
From Puerto Rico. That still seems like a lot. Man.
Yeah.
hop, jump, and a skip away, man, from Puerto Rico.
Let's see. Vanilla with homemade chocolate syrup says Caleb. Nice to know. Comic Jabroni, you can't lurk. You're in this show.
We hashtag lurking, man. We're trying to set up fights between Perry and other YouTubers.
Man, come on, man.
Oh my God! Yes,
I
don't
last.
sell out your own show during someone else's show. NC Slapjack, HAQ, DS Comics. Thank you, my Golden Age brother, for coming by. Much appreciated. Chris Barrett says every time I'm free and someone I'm subbed is every time I'm free and someone I'm subbed to is live, I'm in there. So sometimes lurking like translucent. He's a lurker like you, I guess, Perry. Let's see. It's a beachfront hotel, says Borinkin Comics. Oh, did I lose you? Okay, Jabroni's still there. Okay, good. Dude, Chris Barrett, you are obsessed with translucent. I don't know. Is he? So if you guys don't know, Perry and I came up with this idea for AOK Comics Book Club because mostly because I wanted to make him read Immortal Hulk. And then it was like, we should do this for other people. And of course, Edwin was one of the first people to be like, dude, this sounds like a blast. I want to be in on this.
Heck yeah.
And we're like, have you read Oblivion Song? Because I know Perry was getting into it. I had read it and really enjoyed it. So this became a great excuse to AOK somebody like Edwin here.
And I was already super excited.
The third person in this series, we've got Biggie Shaq and the comic book Die coming up next time. If you want to be part of the AOK Book Club, just drop Perry and I links, drop us comments in Instagram, whatever, and we'll make sure to include you in our planning because we're already looking at 4th and 5th ones down the line. Maybe that means you come on like Chad did, and we can talk about a book that I'm giving Perry or that Perry's giving me. Or maybe like Edwin, we'll gift you a book, and then you can talk to us about how you feel about it. So,
and I haven't read a lot of books, so it'll be easy. I need John's channel is turning into the education of Perry Comics.
Sir, for real, it is actually Yep.
This between movies and comic books, we're slowly making sure that Perry is a well-rounded YouTube community member. So
music is next. Music is next.
Ooh, that's where you need to get something like Comics Misexplained. That guy's a music guy.
Yep. The next Friday night with Perry Comics. It's gonna be music.
Oh man.
Ooh, Lords of the Long Box is saying it's possible StreamYard. Sorry, I just covered Edwin. I can just see Edwin's eyebrows. That's all we get. StreamYard is possibly going to lose its free version, which is something I was worried about. I'd mentioned to some people, and that their low tier is going to become a $10 a month or something like it. I would not be surprised. I think that is more than likely the route they're going to go. This was the introductory price, and then they can kind of up everything on us. Or they might pull some of the cooler things that this StreamYard does and give them only to paid subscribers, which is another thing they mentioned. So just for those of you YouTubers out there, something to worry about, something to stress about. So tonight, for those of you who don't know, we're talking about Oblivion Song, Robert Kirkman's new comic book. Volume 1 collects the first 6 issues in the storyline. And Perry and I had already read some of these and talked about the first few issues. So I'm curious, Edwin, to kind of hear your first reaction to reading this trade.
So I'd always heard about Oblivion Song, right? And I remember when it came out because I actually, I've gotten issue number 1. And then a couple months after that, I picked up issue 4 because it was this secret variant with the frog. The whole secret variants, it's the big rage now. So I went and picked it up. But then when Perry's talking about the AOK Book Club and Oblivion Song, I said, dude, I'm down. I want to read this. I've always heard it's really good. Robert Kirkman, you know him from Walking Dead. I'm down for this. I want to read it. It has to do with I'd never read it, but I'd heard aliens or something of that nature. So when I opened it up, I thought the artwork it's different. It's not the best I've ever seen, but the story, holy smokes. And I know we're going to get into it, guys, but this story got me so much that I went out today and I picked up issues 7, 8, and 9 because I needed to read more.
Look at you.
I wanted to know about this world that Robert Kirkman is creating. So definitely, I got to say, Perry, dude, thank you so much, man. When I got that Amazon package in the mail, I was like, what the heck is this? And I opened it up and there's this book in there. I'm like, man, this is awesome. I'm not a big trade guy, I've told you guys in the past, I like the floppies as they call them.
Sure.
But you know, I got to get more into this trades, because if I'm not going to be picking up issues of these indie books, I might as well get them in trade and read them that way.
What I love about
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, what I love about the trade that Image does, because I read like Immortal Hulk, and when you're reading Immortal Hulk in a trade or any other Marvel book, you know when it's the end of that book. This one, you'll just keep turning. You'll finish the whole trade. You won't know when to stop. You want to keep going, and like every issue flows perfectly into the next one. I'm looking at the wrong camera. It is awesome, you know.
But this one has. It doesn't have breaks like you're talking about, where it shows you like the next issue. But you know when you're reading it, that was the end of issue 1.
Right.
Like it gets you with that. It gets you with that cliffhanger, and then you get to the end of issue 2, and it doesn't tell you it's the end, but you know it because there's another cliffhanger, and that's to set you up.
The writer, Kirkman's great about putting those story beats where you can feel like you're hearing the end of a song, right? That beat hits, and you're like, ooh. But at the same time, the next page is right there. It flows right through. There's no cover. There's no like editor's notes. You're just blasting right through. And I totally get Perry. Reading it this way was very, very different.
No advertisements, none of that.
I wanted to talk about the art because I totally agree with you, Edwin, that the artwork is very different. It's very simple in some ways, but also very like detailed in other ways. The shadows and the lines are very thick, very dark.
Right.
I have a hard time explaining the style to anybody because it is very, very different. I don't know the artist Lorenzo De Felici. Sounds Italian.
There's a Lorenzo De Felici.
But I felt like for me, it worked. I didn't find it distracting or anything. But like you're saying, for me, the hook was the story. I had read Walking Dead, and I have like the first 3 trades, and I had enjoyed it, but it got old. The idea is very simple. Zombies, right? This is a story that I feel like has more legs for a reader like me. There's more to this universe. There's more to these ideas versus Walking Dead, which for me got repetitious. Perry, how did you feel when you finally did you finish today? Are you still on page 5?
I finished it like 5 minutes ago. No,
it's fresh. It's fresh in his head.
For people who don't know, it's kind of like Stranger Things. It's kind of like here's a world within our world, but we're in a different, like, you know, the Upside Down, more or less. But it's like way more cooler than the Upside Down.
Well, so I don't know if you ever noticed this, but in Oblivion Song, in the top, you see the 2 O's.
Yeah.
Right? And they're overlapping. So then you get this middle portion. And then the outside on the N and on this I, there's 2 arrows pointing in. So that's exactly what it is, right? You got the 2 worlds, and there's only that little piece that are joining the 2 worlds together. But it is exactly like Stranger Things. It's 2 parallel worlds.
I wanted to also shout out the cool thing about Image too, and the trades is they're really reasonably priced considering what you get for it. And for $10, you get the first 6 issues. You think about buying them off the shelf, that wouldn't even buy you 3. So like you can easily, instead of feeling like, oh, I'm spending all this money just to read, like you can buy the issue 1 if you really want to try it out. And if you're interested, maybe you, like Joe Ryan is always talking about, like he reads Image in trades. He'll buy an issue 1 to see if he's interested. And then if it piques his interest enough, when the trade drops, he picks up the trade. I think it's a good way. Like, so for me, I got the first 2 trades for $20.
That's cool. It's good stuff, man.
I think Amazon has issue 1, and I only paid like $8, Jabroni.
It's a deal, man. It's a deal.
With free shipping.
Right.
That's a great deal.
Yeah.
It's a really good setup, I think, for a reader and someone who likes to, to get into. And I know Image is not technically an indie anymore, but like for those people that want to get out of the DC and Marvel rut and get into books beyond the big 2, I think it's a real cheap option.
Are we going to get into this? Image is not an indie.
I know a lot of people. Hold on. I know a lot of people, like 99% of the people I know that like are in real life only know Marvel, DC, have no clue what an Image is. They're like, what's that?
But they know Walking Dead.
They know the TV show AMC. They don't know Image. They don't know Kirkman.
But they know Walking Dead.
They know the AMC TV show.
And now Spawn is issue 300, right? When Spider-Man hit issue 300, it was a huge book, part of Marvel. They were already an established mainstream title. And I think Image is not there, but they're on that, they're cresting over. They're getting there.
Well, it's this. I mean, I still refer to when I was coming back to collecting, I picked up a ton of Vertigo, and I still call that an image or an indie book. And people are like, dude, no,
It's
DC
DC.
owns that. Like, that's a DC company. It doesn't count. And I'm like, well, okay, I just basically, in my head, I was such a comic book collector for DC and Marvel that anything that was outside of that zone was such a small piece of my selections that it became, this was independent and this was everything else. So for me as a collector, that's how I segregated it, even though it's obviously totally BS.
It's like IDW. It's an indie, but it's owned by Marvel. They're under the
TJ's got
umbrella.
the angry face at us.
Yeah, I see that. TJ says Image is still high-end independent. So I guess you have your tiers of indies,
different
man.
tiers of indie.
You got your tiers. So
So
where's
let's talk a little bit
Dark
about-
Horse? Dark Horse is an indie, but they're they're lower than Image, right? But they're still a pretty well-known indie company.
Yeah.
As compared to this is Red 5. This is super low on the indie tier.
Absolutely.
Anyway, I'm sorry, I digress.
So as far as the story for Oblivion Song, anybody that hasn't read it, this is a story centering around a gentleman who is traveling between two worlds, as Edwin said, our world and then this Oblivion Song alternate world where there's all kinds of strange creatures and everything looks very different. And we learn pretty quickly that he is there sort of capturing people that don't belong there and bringing them back to our world. And little by little, the plot sort of peels back this idea that an event occurred. We lost people to this other place. And our hero is putting it on himself to go and bring everyone that we lost back.
Yeah, he's saving them.
Does that feel like a fair description?
Yeah.
Yep.
So what I dug about the idea was it felt very like there was a lot to this. There's a family aspect that I think is really fascinating. There's obviously the sort of dystopian post-apocalyptic world side of it in some ways. But then what I did, the beasts in the vision of this other world is so creepy and cool. The whole thing, I just was like, yeah, I dig this idea. And I felt like every issue just sort of expanded the world for me. How about you guys?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Perry's asleep. Read issue 4, Perry. This is supposed to be 6 issues now.
What I liked about this, when I first seen this book, it was because it was spiking, because it was there was a lot of talk about the pink signature variant on issue number 1. It got optioned for like a movie or a show, whatever. So it piqued my interest, and I looked at it, and I was always curious, what the hell does Oblivion Song mean? And I like how the book explains what it means. I thought that was really cool, and I thought it was unique what it was.
It's the sound that this other world makes. So it happened. So the story is that this transference, as they call it, happened 10 years ago. And some people were able to get out, and then there's still some people left in this alternate universe, right? That happened in Philadelphia, and only a portion of Philadelphia.
And including our hero's brother, who is mainly the reason he's doing this in some ways, the guilt over his family side, which I think the family side for me is the second hook. Besides the idea was the family layer was kind of cool.
And there's a lot of not just his family, but there's also that other family that he goes in there and he gets, the husband and the wife. I think he finds them in issue 2, right? Or I think it's issue 2, but it's like the second part. So he gets them back, and then they end up telling him, we're not the only ones. There's more people out there. There's more people there. They don't want to come, though. They want to stay there. And but through this experience of them getting out, now they want to stay. They see that we don't need to be there. This is where we want to be. This is what we love, them two together. I think that they do meet the rest of their family that was able to get out that they hadn't seen in 10 years.
Right.
There's a big,
they resigned themselves to be in this other world, this very violent, chaotic kind of world. They seem to have made it their own. And I think there is a part of them that is very happy there. But I think it's the sort of what happens sometimes when your mind settles on something that you have no control over. You just make the best of it. You know what I mean? And when given the option, these characters feel very differently now. Like, okay, I don't have to stay there. I can actually come home now.
Right, but they I'm sorry, Perry.
I was gonna say it's kind of like Lost. When Jack left the island, I had to do the Lost, but it's good.
I didn't say anything in Unlimited, and I wasn't saying anything here, so it's not on me. People, you can drink if you think it's Perry's fault, not my fault. I didn't do nothing.
Is that a drinking game when you guys start talking about Lost?
People usually say whenever I mention it, but I did not, so it does not count. ICT Vinny, it does not count. I wanted to shout out. What is it? Where did he go? Oh God! Comic Book Campaign says I still can't get over John saying he lost interest in Walking Dead after 3 trades. Sorry, brother. It was really repetitive. What can I say? Same with the series. I'll tell you. Yeah, I tell you, I didn't even get to Negan. I never got to Negan in the comics or the show. By that point, I was like, okay, I get it. It's difficult with zombies. I get it. Life's hard.
Yeah, so it's like these people, they kind of had crappy lives, like crappy everyday lives. They didn't have any money. I'm really big now. It's weird. They didn't have any money. There were some people that owed money. They had debts and stuff and bills and responsibilities. And now they're in this new place where it's just a whole new planet, more or less, for them. And so they kind of become accustomed to something over the last decade. And it's like they're thriving in this harsh environment. And they're like, why do we want to go back and pay taxes and pay bills? And, we're doing good right now. Leave us alone.
Well, yeah, and I think there's that element of like when all the garbage that we deal with in our modern world maybe is stripped away, and it's just about like survival and living in the moment, and not like YouTube and Instagram and all of these things that we're all really pumped on right now, or comic books, or anything that's distracting you from the present. I think that maybe something about that is appealing to people that are frustrated by what this modern life is becoming.
And then Comic Book Campaign, he brings it up too, man, that how about the main character in Oblivion doesn't want to kill the monsters? Because to him, this is another world and this is their world. Like we brought them, or whatever happened, they got brought into our universe or whatever, and we shouldn't be out there trying to kill them. They're just going off of their base instinct. You were food to them. You were on the food supply. They're trying to kill you to eat you, to sustain themselves. Don't try to kill them. So, he's on the side of don't kill them. Let's just hide and get away from them. But then his brother, when he finally does see him in this upside down, that's what I'm going to call it now, the upside down. He's like, no, they're trying to kill us. I'm going to kill them first. And then they end up eating them, right? Because when they get to their little camp, they end up eating these birds that they kill out of the sky.
Yeah, so they're asking about the monsters in the other world. There's all kinds, right? This is like a pterodactyl looking. I can blow my screen up a little bigger. There's the pterodactyl looking beast here, right? All through it, we're seeing these creatures, all different kinds, all different looks to these things. This one, I don't even know what that thing is. Looks like like a worm tree beast thing. Yeah, I don't know what that is.
They all look insane.
Yeah, they're all just wild and weird looking things. And it's part of the fun of it, I think, is just there's no rules, right? This universe is so wide open. This thing is like spider beast thing with like crazy eyes, and I don't know. So like everything looks different. Even at the beginning, when you see like just the universe itself, everything looks kind of run down and beat up and covered in goop and slime and things. And yeah, like here's our hero character on the hunt trying to find people to bring back, and yeah, everything is covered by this sort of fungusy slime stuff.
And then you find out, I guess I found out in issue 7. Shoot.
What are you doing?
Wait, I know, man. Let me stick to 1 through 6 because there's part of our world went into their world, and then part of their world came into ours. And then so their world can't sustain on Earth because it is not the environment for it. So it turns into this desert. So you see a lot of desert in this as well. That's where he's like, he goes into the desert to use this electrical dart or whatever it is to get himself into that world. And then he talks about how it's the frequency. He has to change his frequency to the same frequency as theirs to be able to shift dimensions. It's a lot to take in.
Comics Misexplained. Boom should have released Oblivion Song. Just scantily dressed grotesque monsters. Boom.
Boom should go into the porn business. Oh my god.
Oh man.
What is? I told you off the rails, John.
Jeez, I invite Perry on a show, and this is what happens.
Oh, I'm sorry, John.
So yeah, I think it's interesting to see like our buildings that got stuck over there are getting slowly destroyed and sort of evolving into this, or devolving into this environment, versus the creatures and things that landed in our world were kind of wiped out. We defeated whatever made it through the gate. And then, yeah, like you're saying, Perry, or Edwin, our hero feels very strongly that this is basically just another environment, another habitat, and that we shouldn't be assaulting it as if it were full of creatures that mean us harm. They're just living in their environment, and we invaded them in some ways.
I got two things. First,
yeah, go ahead.
This was one of the coolest parts I liked about the book was this like city right here. It's like showing him hiding. You know, like he's trying to use his smarts to survive in this place. And then second thing, aggressively relaxing said, "You guys stay away from my wholesome Power Rangers fun at Boom." Hey, ever since they released those erotica covers, they're no longer wholesome over there.
Oh man. This show, we're already in trouble. We're only like 20 minutes in. We're already in trouble.
I'm not even drinking bourbon tonight, man. Holy
I'm drinking
smokes.
milk.
I was just doing whiskey, but I had it from earlier. I'm sipping. So, like, I think what I think is going to be most interesting, and again, I haven't gotten into the second trade, but for me, what I think is going to be interesting about this story is the dilemma between like bringing these people home and them wanting to stay. The fact, it seems unfathomable, I think, just reading this to be like, they want to live there, and then getting the insight into what's going on with them. And obviously, when our hero makes contact with this colony, it's like everything you expected is sort of flipped on its head in a kind of cool way. I think it sets up a very long-term story.
Yep.
Well, it feels like our hero, quote unquote, is working on this device. I feel like he's trying to. These people don't want to come back. Whenever he encounters them, they're running away from him. They don't want nothing to do with him. But he's forcing them to come back.
Right.
You know, whether he believes that he's saving them or not. That's why I feel like he's doing this thing and making this device to just bring everybody back in a Boom, which could blow up in his face like it did the first time.
Yeah, and I don't want to spoil too much of it, but obviously there's some great twists as far as how this even happened in the first place, right? Because this was clearly a pretty random event to have occurred. So the reasons why it happened, I think, are very interesting. And for me, again, back to the family stuff, I felt like the ending of this trade was like, oh, damn, now I definitely got, like Edwin was saying, I got to read 7.
I went and picked up 7, 8, and 9, man. I had to know more about this world. Dude, in all honesty, man, like I've read some Walking Dead, and I think Robert Kirkman's writing this, and that might be one of the biggest reasons we saw like Walking Dead kind of get the because like I think he's gonna focus so much more on this. Dude, this would make the perfect show or movie. I don't know if it's been optioned. I don't know any of that. This is just such an awesome read, and it is a huge world that they could build off of like so well. And then, like you said, John, that the ending made me go out and get issue 7, 8, and 9. I needed to know more because how he just leaves you just dangling there wanting to know more.
Yep.
Dude, it was incredible. The artwork, we've talked about it, very dark, but then there's a lot of color. It's weird. A lot of colors, but there's a lot of dark. He draws a lot of dark lines, a lot of shadows. The inker, whoever's doing the inking, it's very thick lines. It's not very subtle, like detail line. It's very thick. I wanted to highlight Comics Misexplained. Jason was saying Oblivion Song is so much better than Die, 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 which I can't remember the publisher of that. Is that a Boom Studios?
I've only read issue 1.
I don't know.
Yeah, I've read issue 1 on it. It was okay. I mean, it's like apples and oranges, I guess, because this is they're totally different.
Yeah, they're very different stories. Yeah.
Yeah, very different. But yeah, Oblivion Song, just that ending for this trade. I mean, I don't know how much spoiling you do on this show.
Well, I mean, honestly, we went through the volume 1 of Hulk and didn't hold anything back. But admittedly, that is like at issue 22, and Oblivion Song's at issue 12, 15, 13? 16? Oh, 16? Oh, yeah, I guess maybe they're about the same. Maybe they came out around the same time. That's maybe interesting. They did.
Yeah, this was I don't know, June of March of last year.
Okay, yeah, so it's got a good year.
Yeah, so it's got a good run, and I'm really hoping that they continue on with it, man, because I want to know more about this world and because I could see it where now he's going to go into missions into this other universe and like dive deeper into it.
Yeah. I mean, I could have even enjoyed the show if it was just simply like each issue was him going in and trying to get somebody.
Yeah.
Like
recon mission.
Like each issue was standalone or something. I think just the concept alone is so simple and pure. But then you add this layer of family, you add this layer of like competing societies almost, and people choosing between the two. I think there's a lot to really do there.
And what I like too, we haven't brought up is, so in on Earth, they've created this like a Vietnam like memorial kind of, right? You know the Vietnam Memorial in DC where it's just slabs with names on them.
Right.
They've kind of done the same for people that were lost in this transference. But every time this guy goes in and rescues people, he goes to this wall and he scratches their name out of the wall. To say they are not dead. They're back. They're here.
Because they gave the American people / government gave up on these people. They're gone.
They've given up.
It's been 10 years. Move on. And this guy has like this passion. He's burnt his bridge with everybody so far. Even the people that were close to him have burnt his bridge. The only person that trusted him and had faith in him, now he abandoned him in this world that he's back in. And he's like, I need to get the second trade already.
And there is the government and the military portion of it too, because they've cut his funding. They've taken away the team because he used to go in with a team of people. It wasn't just him by himself.
Yeah.
When this first happened, it used to be a team of people that would go in and they would rescue people. But eventually they cut it off. They said, no more. There's no more people there. They're all dead. We're done. Oh,
Chris
Barrett. What are we talking about?
He's derailing us. Yeah, you guys talked a little bit about because I feel like what also makes this a comic that works really well. I was comparing it to other images. I've been reading obviously more Image #1s in the last year than I've ever read, and you definitely get a feel with some books that wow, they've really got a whole world. It's really expansive. There's a lot to this. Whereas I read something like Sonata, which I wasn't as big a fan of, felt very flat. Like there wasn't necessarily as much going on to that. This, I could see and understand and even picture huge portions of the story that they don't tell you about before going on here. All the journeys and failures this hero has had trying to rescue people. So much so that the government, like you're saying, cancels his funding. His partners are giving up on him. He has been struggling to succeed at this. And so much so that even succeeding and pulling a few people out doesn't convince anybody that this is working. That was a shocking moment for me. I was like, oh, dude, look, he succeeded. They're going to understand that this is worth it. They're going to start helping him now. And it was like, no, they do not believe him. They do not care. They're over this whole idea. And he has to keep doing it on his own, which again, I like a story where the hero is up against it. What I've always loved about Spider-Man is that dude, nothing goes his way.
Ever.
Yeah, it's just life sucks. And yet he doesn't stop. Right? The tenacity. And I think this hero has some of those same qualities that I really appreciate.
Oh yeah. I felt bad at the end of the book because I'm like, here's this guy who did this thing and ruined an entire city. Finally goes into this upside down. Mission accomplished. He does what he needs to do. And then the only person there that's sustaining everything in order
is the one person he's looking to get.
And then he takes him out, and now he can't go back there because he's locked up. So he ruined things in that world now too. You know, it's just like it's crazy. You know, how the hell is he gonna find this guy?
Yeah, so you find out that his brother is over there. He's been looking for his brother forever. You find out his brother is over there. He meets him, and he tells him, "There's a better life. Let me bring you all back." And his brother says, "No, I'll go back. Give me a week. I'll go back with you. And if I decide that we should all come back, then I'll come back and we'll pull everybody." But it goes horribly wrong as soon as they get back to Earth. And that was it, Barry.
I read the first 5 pages.
Hey,
man, go and get the trade. I read the whole trade.
Perry, that's it for you, dude. You're going to be known as the 5 pages Perry.
Hey, man.
5-minute review.
5-minute review, 5 minutes in bed, 5 minutes and I'm drunk.
If he watches 5 minutes of somebody's live stream, that he's really invested.
Yeah.
Hey, hashtag lurking, dog.
Yep, all day.
Hashtag lurking.
Yeah, I think
Perry.
I think I appreciated the brother's perspective, because he clearly had a frustration in our time that being here as a leader and respected and being a part of something that in this other universe was more meaningful to him than being in our world. Yeah. And that was a crazy cool twist and of an idea that I really
John Locke. That's what I'm saying. He's like John Locke, you know? He has.
So Edwin, what I think we should do is just continue the show.
I don't know who John Locke is. Who the heck is that? Is that a Lost thing?
So I just put somebody in timeout for talking about Lost. You thought it would never happen. I want it on record. This is officially happened.
Officially happened today. Perry was on timeout.
I'm going to put the banner right over his mouth
there
now.
You go.
He can't talk. Edwin now gets to be in the top level. You're in the penthouse spot.
Yeah.
Don't you're just mad because you didn't think of the Lost reference first.
Oh, I'm out again.
My God. I love it. The one thing I truly love about StreamYard is the timeout. It is going to become a real part of StreamYard. Being able to just drop somebody out as the channel. I mean, I'm surprised that Rod is not using it on the Triple Threat more often. By the way, if you haven't watched the Comic Triple Threats show Buy or Pass, it was amazing yesterday. Wolf Warner, who I had never really seen except for the community shout out video he did with Rod, was phenomenal. And the four of you guys together were killing it. I just wanted to shout out the fact that if you missed it, if you weren't there for the live stream, you didn't watch it, rewind, it was great. And not only that, I listened to it all the way down to San Diego. I had it on in the car. There were several books. I had already been to my shop that you guys mentioned. And I was like, crap, I forgot about that one. I kept turning off the show, calling my LCS on the drive saying, put this in my box, and then put the show back on. I was so grateful for you guys because there were several comics I would have missed on were it not for the show.
I
you know what, John? It's because we know a thing or two, brother. Because we read a thing or two, man.
Boom.
For real.
Except for this guy right
there.
Well,
yeah, except for
he doesn't read five pages. 5 pages.
Hey, man, it's more than none.
And we know some of those, right, Perry?
Oh, yeah.
Can Perry go on any show without making me angry, says TJ?
No.
I don't do it intentionally.
Perry dropping my pearl of wisdom from last night.
There it is.
May bloom, but they only grow into a tree of failure. That has nothing to do with powers of 10, by the way.
Man.
So obviously for me, I haven't gone into trade number 2. Edwin, you sound like you've read 7, 8, and 9 or 7 and 8?
I've just read 7.
Okay.
I didn't want to get too deep because then I'll start like adding some of that to this review, which I already kind of did.
My question then for you guys is, I don't want to get into like story comic core area, but basically like, where do you see this story going from here? Like, I feel like this is so expansive. There's a lot of ways it could go. Do you have any ideas of where you would imagine this story progressing?
The Russians.
Yeah.
Not Stranger Things.
Stranger Things. So, okay. Well, because I read issue 7, I kind of see where they're going after this first trade. You know, with the military kind of having their hands in things.
Yeah.
But I like I said before, I want to know more about what this other universe is. Because all we see is like the little part of Philadelphia that it's taken over. It didn't take over all of Philly. It only took over a portion. So I want to know more about this universe and what is in there.
And I think there's definitely something to the government disinterest in looking into this. There's clearly something they would rather do with this technology or this other universe that they have an eye on it in some way that is different than our hero character. So I think that's something. And I definitely would love this to build towards a second incident. Because I think it would be cool to see the incident occur. And that's one thing that the show is or the book has done really well at, is kind of like making us hear about it, but not showing it to us yet. And I would love it to build towards another incident.
So you haven't read 7, right?
No, I haven't.
All right, read 7, man.
Oh man, you're gonna be
read 7, dude. I love you guys and I hate you guys all in the same, because I've already have such a big pull list, and now I have to add this to the pull.
Hey, that's how I feel at Buy or Pass, man. There's lots of comics I'm reading now.
An issue, I had to read more, like I told you earlier, and then issue 7, it hit. It totally clicked, and it just showed you everything that you have questions about from the first 6. You almost get them all answered.
Oh,
nice.
As far as what happened, because at the end of this, and spoiler alert, you find out that it's this guy's fault that this happened. He says it. He says it in this issue 6. It was my fault. He doesn't say any more than that, but he does say it was my fault. So that made me go out. Spoiler alert on Barry. It made me go out and find the rest of them, man.
Sure. There you go, Perry. Sorry, now you're back. Yeah, and I'm definitely invested enough that, we usually end New Comic Book Day Book Club by saying, like, would you potentially read more? And I know that Perry was a little on the fence with Immortal Hulk. Like he did want to get into the Hulk in Hell, Green Door stuff. Yeah. So he's potentially looking into reading more of it. Although knowing his, if Perry's on the fence, that's usually his nice way of saying no, but like whatever.
Unless somebody AOK fan in the community AOKs me the second trade.
I'll pimp you my subscription to Marvel Unlimited for a week. You just got to read like the beast.
Oh man.
It's like with Netflix, only one person has a sub to Netflix and then everybody else uses that password.
Definitely. So for me, I obviously bought the second trade, and my plan is to continue to read and trade as long as each trade is as enjoyable as this first one. I don't necessarily need the individual issues. I have a few copies of issue 1, and I'm fine just holding on to those. If it like spikes, or if not, I can give them away at some point. But for reading, I'm going to trade read this, I think.
I would definitely hold on to at least one copy.
Oh yeah.
I don't have the pink. If I had the pink one, I would definitely be holding that like the Dickens. I got green ones.
But even still, man, like I have the regular, non-pink signature, and I still think that's a good one to have. And it's like The Walking Dead. Did you see earlier in the week? Now they're saying there's 2 different versions of Walking Dead 1.
No one. The black and white.
The black and the white. Mature readers only is in black.
I saw this. How did they not know about this before?
I just saw it earlier in the week or last week. So that might be the same issue we have with the green and the pink signature.
Yeah.
But it's still good to own it.
I remember when Oblivion Song 1 dropped, though, they were pretty adamant. They were not going to do second printings. They were not going to do variant covers. It was just this. There was the green and a few of the pinks.
And then we get to issue 4.
And they changed their story.
And then they changed it, and there's the frog, and there is one here without the frog. So the one with the frog is the secret variant.
Yeah, that's
what I saw it in my store today. Right as I'm going through Oblivion. There you go. I saw it. They have the non-frog one is a $5 book, and then the frog one is a $10 or $15.
Look, there's my man TJ. He doesn't share his Netflix. He buys from iTunes, and he buys movies on Blu-ray.
I buy movies on Blu-ray too.
I think I check all those boxes, TJ. I think I do. I don't. Nobody shares my Netflix yet. I do buy music from iTunes still, and obviously I have a few Blu-rays.
I use an iTunes subscription. You don't use that, John?
Nope.
That's what I do. Since I'm a student at A&M, I get like $5 a month or something, and I have iTunes subscription, so I can listen to all the music on there.
I use my mom's Netflix. I listen to the radio. I don't watch movies. I used to get letters in the mail from Verizon saying
Not
that
anymore,
I was
buddy.
illegally downloading music and movies on my my router. That I need to stop that immediately. Oh man!
I'm waiting for somebody like an old head in the chat to say "damn millennials."
Oh man,
Dude,
although I am one, so I can't.
I legitimately still burn CDs from time to time. That's how old I am. My brother's like, "Are you joking me? Like, what the hell's wrong with you?"
John, how old are you? 41?
42.
42? You're not that old, man.
I do it because I don't like taking up the space on my phone with music. And so my brother's always like, he plugs his phone in, just blares his music off there. But I'm like, nah, I'd rather just burn a disc and have it. But
now, dude, if you would have told me that you had a radio still that you put a tape cassette in and listen to the radio for when you're good, the good song comes on, then I'm saying, dude, that's
no. My wife does have a couple of record players though. But that's
I have a record player.
Retro, kitschy, cool now.
Oh yeah, that's retro, brother. That's cool now.
Yeah, it's not uncool yet, or it's not back to being uncool yet. Oh dear Lord, Chris Barrett. Deep breath, brother. Deep breath. Oh look, hey, Perry, look.
There you go.
Brian McDonald.
Heck yeah,
doing it.
I think he said that like 3 or 4 times already now.
Right, and everybody know this Sunday we're back for round 2 of the stream it or skip it.
Did you watch Harsh Times?
I've watched Perry's movie. He's not supposed to give away the names of the movies until the day of the show. We're secret. Keep it a secret.
That was just a joke.
That was a joke.
I did tell you I made Perry watch a black and white movie for our next round of movies on Sunday.
He didn't make it through.
He hasn't watched it yet.
He's not going to. He's going to Wikipedia right, bro.
The show.
Wikipedia.
Right? And then we have Carlito Classico is joining us, and he dropped a really good movie too. I'm excited to rewatch. I watched it when Perry, you won't know what this is, but I used to work in a video store, and that movie came out while I was working there, so I saw it a ton. But I'm excited to watch it again. It's been a long time, obviously, since I watched it. If that's when I watched it.
Was it a Blockbuster or one of those mom and pop ones?
It was a Hollywood video, which was like
one
level below Blockbuster.
I used to work at a Blockbuster way back. It was 2003, 2004.
Yeah, it's far enough back. If you worked at a video store, it was far enough back.
Yeah, we had cassette tapes and DVDs.
Right.
Fun times, man. Fun times.
Harry will watch it. He doesn't want to disappoint John. I'll tell you also.
Hey, I've been pretty good with reading and watching stuff on time.
And I will tell you, it's an amazing movie. Like, I've never met a person who dislikes this movie. So
he's silent too?
It's what?
Is it silent and black and white?
It is not. I wanted to find Seven Samurai, make him watch a foreign silent film.
Because Perry don't like reading.
Nope.
Perry don't like reading.
I don't like forced reading. Okay.
I bet you Edwin's seen Seven Samurai. That movie's amazing.
I have not, man.
What?
I haven't seen Seven Samurai.
So back to the parent. Oh, I'm sad.
I do like like Drunken Master. I've seen that.
Sure.
Both.
Oh
yeah.
With Jackie
Japanese
Chan
and the American version. I've seen those. I do like some of those.
Seven Samurai has been remade several times. The Magnificent Seven is a Western version of the Seven Samurai, and they just recently remade the Magnificent Seven again with Denzel Washington. So that it's a story that's been told a bunch of times.
Well, when you watch Drunken Master, you'd invite me and I watch that.
Dude, it's freaking hilarious.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
I love both versions. It's usually one or the other is not as good, but I think both are great.
No, it's the same with I love Evil Dead 1 and Evil Dead 2, and they basically just remade that movie. They did it twice, and I love both of them. They're both freaking hilarious. Yeah, there's Felix Maldonado. He knows what's up. Magnificent Seven. Yeah, man. Although I did not care for the new Denzel version of, if you guys saw that Western Denzel, and I think Chris Pratt is in that too. Denzel and Chris Pratt together.
Dude, that was about the same time that Tarantino put out Hateful Eight.
Yep.
So Hateful Eight was a much bigger, better movie.
Absolutely.
And it overshadowed it.
Yeah. But if you watch the original Magnificent Seven, that's a real badass movie. Yul Brynner and super bloody and people getting shot up like crazy.
Citizen Kane lately. There's an oldie.
It's Citizen Kane is a great movie, TJ. But I know that Perry would quit doing our movie show if I made him watch.
You made him watch that
versus the movie
you
I
made
picked
me watch
for
a
him,
love story off the bat,
and he loved it.
And I loved it.
He cried.
I cried twice.
I've got a little cachet on this now. I think we're going to be good. So everybody's in then for reading more of Oblivion Song. Then my question following that is like, how much Kirkman have you read before this? Because I've only ever read, as far as I know, Walking Dead and this. That's it.
Yeah, and Walking Dead wasn't that much. I've read the first trade, and then like issue right around 100. I read like 95 to 102 or 103. The whole Negan story. I've read that.
Right.
And then right here at the end, I read like the last 3 or 4 issues.
Oh my God, Brian, you're so right, dude. I have the entire like omnibus volume 1 of Invincible. So I clearly have read more Kirkman.
Oh, that's Kirkman too. I've never read that either though.
Freaking great read. Gosh, Brian McDonald, you've been on fire lately.
Did they finish it off? They cut it off, right? Are they bringing it back?
I believe it is done, but maybe someone that I've only got the first. I only read the first. My LCS was having a sale on their older omnibus, and they had one of the Invincible Volume 1. And I was like, yes, I'm buying that. I got it for like 50% off. Yeah. And the only Invincible I've read has been in that giant tome.
Dude, I know that number 1 is it's a hot book.
It is
expensive and hard to find.
Absolutely. The re-education of Perry Comics. Chris Barrett, it's happening. It's all happening.
Hey man, I'm always up to learn something new.
Yeah, so on the Key Comic Collector app, I look Kirkman and like everything is Walking Dead and Invincible.
There you go. All right. So then maybe I'm not as out of. Maybe I was out of the loop.
Did he write Marvel Zombies?
No,
I don't know.
I saw that on there for him. What the hell is that?
Inspired by The Walking Dead. Perry is the new Lauryn Hill. There you go. Look at that. Boom.
I still don't understand what that means.
Chris Barrett is fired.
Yeah, it says Marvel Zombies, written by Robert Kirkman.
Boom, look, Chris.
Oh, wow.
Jason Misexplained saying, yep.
There you go.
Which I will say, maybe it's just me and zombies. I just
DC, don't speak badly.
Don't even talk about it.
Put me on timeout.
Yeah, no, it's all right. Actually, on timeout for that one.
DC was good. No, Perry. This issue that came out today.
I didn't read it. Don't spoil. I got it right
here.
here.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna send it to John for AOK. I'm gonna force him to read.
Trade. Yeah. God. If I have to look at Lois Lane's lazy eye again, I'm gonna die.
I'll do it. Hey, check it out, John. When DC's comes out in trade, Edwin the comic Jabroni is buying it for you because you guys invited me to this.
I'll tell you that trade's going to cost a heck of a lot more than the $8.
That's okay, dude. I appreciate you guys having me on. So that is my thank you back to you guys. I'm buying you Deceased.
That's hilarious. That is awesome. The Strange Case of Benjamin Perry. Felix Maldonado. Sorry, I missed it. There it is.
Man.
Deceased good, says TJ. That's good. All right. Good. And I hear that issue 3 and was it 4 that just came out today?
Yeah.
Got better. It's getting better. And I knew that there were panels I liked and drawings I liked, but then there were also like, God, there were drawings that were like, God damn, this is bad. And that first issue with like freaking 9 artists or whatever it was like, dude, God, this was bad.
I said DC does that a lot, actually.
Oof.
I noticed that they do a bunch of different panels by different artists. I don't think I'm a fan of that.
I assumed that it was because they might have gone a little too far with the first issue, and then they decided to scale it back and the artist didn't have time to fix those panels, so they had other people coming in to, fix stuff for them. Black label drama. Perry's just not even listening anymore. He's just
I know what you're saying.
He only gave us 5 minutes. That's all we got out of him.
He was done after the 5-minute mark.
Well, like I said at the beginning, this is a new program with Perry and I, the AOK Book Club. And if you want to be involved in some way or another, just drop us a line. We are definitely booked next time. We're going to have Biggie Shack, who won an amazing AOK prize contest winning from Bear Island Comics. He won a slab die issue 1 signed signature series gold label 9.4 or something like that. So I was super pumped that he won it. And then he was like, yeah, I've never read this. And I was like, what? Crumb? What?
Me neither. I gotta read it.
So I AOK'd him that trade, and he is now going to be the next person to join us on the AOK Book Club. So if you want to read Die, talk about Die, if you can't get enough Die, issue 6 dropping today. It was
good. It was good.
Dude, I got both covers. I mentioned on the Comic Core Unlimited, I've never asked an LCS to put both covers of a comic on my pull list. This is the first time, so I was like, damn.
What's the over under on Biggie Shaq smoking cigarettes?
It's definitely
over 5 or 6.
How many?
Over under. I'd say half a pack.
He's gonna be nervous. Half a pack, yeah, definitely half a pack. That's a solid. That's a definite, yeah.
With the belt, he's gonna have the belt.
I'm more interested in how many F-bombs we get.
Oh man. Hey, put the mature rating on the thumbnail.
I'll have a little banner across the bottom. Comics with Biggie.
Hey, Chris Barrett, I have Biggie smoking a pack.
We're taking bets.
Lord, be ready for that. We might be on Perry's channel just to save my rating.
There you go.
Kids Safe Network. But we're gonna have more AOK Book Club in the future. Next week, we're going to have Rod the Rican on the New Comic Book Day Book Club. So we're going to complete the triple threat next week with Rod. He is looking at some indie books. I think we've settled on Reaver, the comic that came out about a month ago. Issue 2 drops next week, and a reprint of issue 1 also drops. So you can read issue 1 and 2. I think that's likely going to be the book that Rod picks for book club next week. Alec and I are in on that. I really enjoyed issue 1. I thought it was a lot of excitement. I love a good fantasy story, so I was definitely in on that. So for those of you looking to join regular book club next week, we should be, I believe I'm hosting again. So be sure to be there for that. Perry, what do you got coming up on your shows this week? You got more lurking tonight?
I'm not going to lurk tonight. I need to get some rest.
You flirking, lurking?
So Monday through Thursday, except for tonight, because I did this show, I go around for like 1 to 2 hours watching other people's videos. Wow, it sounds really bad when I say it out loud. And then Friday, I do late night with Perry, where we just talk about a bunch of random stuff, and it seems to be entertaining. And yeah, I'm gonna drop a video tomorrow night about my new picks coming out next week. So yeah, that's about it. I guess I'm all over the place, Well,
and then you got a big show coming up on Sunday where you're going to talk about a black or white movie.
Oh man, yeah.
I'm so freaking looking forward to this, man. Oh man,
can't wait.
And then Edwin, you got a show dropping tomorrow, am I right?
Yeah, man. So as always, Thursdays I drop my New Comic Book Day pickups and review. I went through the stack. I read it all. Gonna do the review video. And I'm doing a giveaway on tomorrow's show, man. So today at my LCS, I actually won the raffle. My LCS does a monthly raffle, and if you're a subscriber at the store, you get entered in. So I actually won this Walking Dead figure and this cards and a couple other things. But I'm not a big figure guy, so I'm gonna give these away on the channel, man, to give back. And I think I'm also gonna give away one of these Walmart black cats.
Nice.
So definitely check that out. And Rod the Rican actually sent me a box in the mail. And as you guys know who watch my channel, when Edwin does an unboxing, I also do a whiskey or bourbon review. If you checked on Instagram yesterday, I had 2 bourbons up, or 2 whiskeys. One was Evan Williams bottled in bond, and the other one was George Dickel bottled in bond. And the Evan Williams won. So I will be
about that. I really love the Dickel.
Man, I'm going to try them both out, obviously. But yeah, Evan Williams bottled in bond. That's the bourbon for review.
Nice. Exciting.
For anybody that doesn't know in the chat, Edwin the Comic Jabroni loves comics, loves Ninja Turtles, and loves bourbon.
And what more do you really need, right? I mean,
you don't need much more than that, man. You don't need much more. I was going to ask you, you said you're drinking whiskey. What are you drinking?
Jameson's is usually my solid go. It's the family label. You know, you roll with that. My dad's a big Crown Royal fan. That's like his top tier, and then Jameson underneath it. And then I got I wasn't drinking it tonight. What's the oh man, I've clearly been drinking too much. I got a classier bottle for like special occasions, but the name is like already gone from my brain.
Send it to me on Instagram. I want to know.
Yeah, it's one that you and I have talked about before, and it's Woodford
Reserve.
Yeah,
it's a good one.
It's a good one. So I saved that one for like, TJ sent me a box. I'm gonna pee my pants. I'm gonna have a glass and just settle myself.
That's like a daily driver for me, man.
Ooh, look at you.
I have my bourbons that are daily drivers, and then I have my ones that are special occasions.
This is my daily. Look at that.
That Jameson, woo!
The Costco size.
I love Costco.
Oh man,
Costco is so great.
It's the best. John Jameson coming a jug with 3 X's on it.
Oh geez, Chris
Oh,
Barrett.
right?
This guy.
Oh, good God. Okay, Brian McDonald, here's the deal I'm going to make for you, buddy. If I get to 800 subs in my contest, which by the way is going through the end of the month, I'm already almost at 750. I'm making Brian McDonald a wrench on my channel. This guy is amazing. The Third Man is an incredible black and white film. Oh, absolutely great movie. It is not the movie that I'm asking Perry to watch this week, but a very, very, very good movie. So shout out to Brian McDonald again with some gold in the chat. Thanks everybody for watching. Definitely drop us a line if you want to tell us what you thought about Oblivion Song. Leave a comment down below if you read Oblivion Song and you liked it like we did. We would be pumped to get you in the AOK Book Club at some point if there's something down the road that you really want to read, or if there's something that you think is great that Perry or I need to be reading, then feel free to let us know and we can get this going. Thanks everybody for coming. Thank you, Perry. Thank you, Edwin. Peace, everybody.
Bye-bye.